What if one of the biggest dangers to your Chihuahua is something you do every single day without even realizing it? Because Chihuahuas may be tiny, but that tiny size comes with some very real risks. A mistake that might be harmless for a large dog can become a serious emergency for a Chihuahua. And some of the most dangerous mistakes are the ones loving owners make with the best intentions. So before you say, my Chihuahua would never be in danger from that, you may want to watch until the end, because one mistake on this list can happen in just a few seconds.
Chihuahuas are often treated like tiny, indestructible little characters. They jump off furniture, they squeeze into impossible places,
they run around the house at full speed. And because they act so confident,
it's easy to forget how physically vulnerable they can be. But being a good Chihuahua owner isn't just about giving them food, toys, and affection. It's also about understanding the risks that come with owning one of the smallest dog breeds in the world. In this video, we're going through some dangerous mistakes Chihuahua owners should avoid. From mistakes involving food and exercise to things inside your own home that may be putting your dog at risk. And stay until the end, because the last mistake is something many owners accidentally teach their Chihuahua to do:
letting your Chihuahua jump from high places. Let's start with one of the most common mistakes. Your Chihuahua is sitting on the couch. The doorbell rings. Suddenly, they launch themselves off the edge like they're competing in the Olympics. For a larger dog, jumping down from a couch might not be a major issue. For a Chihuahua, repeated jumping can put significant stress on their tiny joints and bones, and the problem isn't always obvious immediately. Your Chihuahua may jump down perfectly 10 times, then one awkward landing happens. Maybe they twist a leg, maybe they land badly, maybe they develop pain that doesn't become obvious until later. Beds can be even worse. To a Chihuahua, a high bed isn't just furniture, it's practically a cliff. A simple solution is to use pet stairs or a ramp where appropriate, especially if your Chihuahua regularly climbs onto high furniture. And here's the important part: don't assume your Chihuahua is safe just because they've jumped before without getting hurt. Surviving a risky jump doesn't make the next jump safe. And speaking of things that seem harmless until something goes wrong, the next mistake happens when owners are simply trying to make their Chihuahua happy.
Overfeeding because they're so small. This one sounds obvious, but Chihuahua owners can fall into this trap incredibly easily. You give them a little piece of chicken, then another tiny treat, then someone else in the family gives them something. Then you look at your Chihuahua and think, it's such a small amount. But that's exactly the problem. A tiny amount of extra food for you can represent a much bigger portion of your Chihuahua's daily calorie intake. And because Chihuahuas are so small, weight gain can happen faster than many owners realize. Extra weight doesn't just change how your Chihuahua looks, it puts additional pressure on their joints. It can make movement more difficult, and it can contribute to long-term health problems. The dangerous part is that weight gain often happens slowly. You see your Chihuahua every day, so small changes can be difficult to notice. 1 month, they look normal. A few months later, they don't have the same waist. Maybe they're getting tired more easily. Maybe jumping has become more difficult. And suddenly, what started as just a few extra treats has become a much bigger problem. The same applies to sharing human food. Some foods that are perfectly normal for humans can be dangerous or toxic to dogs. So don't make decisions based on the idea that it's only a tiny bite. When your entire dog weighs just a few pounds, tiny bites add up quickly. And that brings us to another mistake that often starts with love:
carrying your Chihuahua the wrong way. Chihuahuas love being close to their people. And let's be honest, sometimes carrying them is unavoidable. You need to move them away from something. They're tired, they're scared, or they simply want to be picked up. But how you pick up a Chihuahua matters. One dangerous mistake is lifting them by supporting only the front part of their body and allowing the back end to hang. Another is grabbing them quickly under the front legs. Remember, your Chihuahua's body is small and delicate. The safest approach is generally to support both the chest and the hindquarters, so their body is properly supported. And this becomes especially important with children. A child may genuinely love the Chihuahua, but still not understand how easily a small dog can be dropped or injured. Imagine a Chihuahua squirming because they see another dog, hear a noise, or simply want to get down. One sudden movement, one lost grip, and the situation can change instantly. That's why it's important to teach everyone in the home exactly how to handle the dog, not just be careful. Actually show them, because vague instructions don't prevent accidents. Clear habits do. And if you think the biggest danger to a Chihuahua is always something dramatic, wait until you hear the next one, because sometimes the danger is sitting quietly inside your own house.
Ignoring the hidden dangers inside your home. Your Chihuahua doesn't need to leave the house to get into trouble. In fact, their size can make your home more dangerous than you think. Small objects can become choking hazards. Medications dropped on the floor can be easier for them to reach. Electrical cords may look like chew toys. Cleaning products can be dangerous. And because Chihuahuas are curious, fast, and surprisingly determined, you can't always rely on simply watching them. Think about the world from your Chihuahua's perspective. That pill you dropped, it's now directly at nose level. The open handbag, it may contain medication, gum, or other things your Chihuahua shouldn't eat. That small toy under the couch, your Chihuahua may decide to investigate before you even realize it's there. One of the best habits you can develop is doing a quick Chihuahua-level safety check. Look around the floor. Check what can be reached. Ask yourself, if my Chihuahua picked this up and swallowed it, would that be dangerous? And here's something else many owners underestimate. Doors. Chihuahuas are small enough to slip through gaps that larger dogs couldn't possibly use. A slightly open gate, a door that doesn't close completely, a gap in a fence. For a Chihuahua, that may be enough. And once they get outside, their small size can make them difficult to see and extremely vulnerable.
So don't just Chihuahua-proof your home once. Do it regularly, because the things inside your home change, and so do the risks. Now, if you're finding this video useful so far, take a second to like the video and subscribe. And in the comments, tell us, what is one thing you had to Chihuahua-proof in your home? Because some of the best advice for Chihuahua owners comes from the mistakes we learned to prevent. And the next mistake is one that can be especially dangerous, because owners often confuse it with affection.
Treating fear or aggression like cute Chihuahua behavior. We've all seen it. A tiny Chihuahua growls at someone. Maybe they snap when somebody reaches toward them. Maybe they bark aggressively at a larger dog, and everyone laughs. Look at how tough he thinks he is. But here's the problem. Fear, anxiety, and defensive behavior don't become harmless just because they come from a small dog. If your Chihuahua is growling, snapping, or constantly reacting to people or animals, laughing it off can allow the behavior to become more deeply established. A growl is communication. Your Chihuahua is telling you something. Maybe they're scared. Maybe they're uncomfortable. Maybe they feel trapped. Maybe they've learned that aggressive behavior is the only thing that makes people back away. Punishing the warning can also create another problem. If you teach a dog that growling is unacceptable, you may not remove the fear. You may simply remove the warning. And that's not what you want. Instead, try to understand what triggers the reaction. Does your Chihuahua react when people approach their food? When strangers reach over their head? When they're being picked up? When another dog gets too close? The answer matters, because treating the cause is far more useful than simply trying to silence the behavior.
And this leads directly to one of the most misunderstood mistakes Chihuahua owners make.
Thinking small dogs don't need real exercise or training. This might be the most damaging mindset on the list. Because Chihuahuas are small, some owners accidentally treat them more like accessories than dogs. They get carried everywhere. They don't go on proper walks. They aren't trained because they're too small to cause serious problems. But your Chihuahua still needs to use their brain. They still need appropriate exercise. They still need structure. And they still need to feel confident navigating the world. Imagine spending most of your life inside the same few rooms. No new smells, no new environments, no challenges, no opportunities to learn. Eventually, boredom and frustration can show up in unexpected ways. Excessive barking, destructive behavior, anxiety, overreacting to every sound. And this is where a lot of owners accidentally create a cycle. The Chihuahua barks at something. The owner immediately picks them up. The Chihuahua never learns how to calmly process the situation. The next time, they bark again, and the cycle continues. Of course, carrying your Chihuahua isn't wrong. Sometimes it's necessary. Sometimes it's comforting. The problem is when being carried replaces normal dog experiences completely. Your Chihuahua may be tiny, but they still need to be a dog. And now we need to go a little deeper, because this next point connects many of the mistakes we've talked about.
The biggest danger is often underestimating your Chihuahua. Here is the strange thing about owning a Chihuahua. Their small size can cause owners to make two completely opposite mistakes. Some people become overprotective. They carry their Chihuahua everywhere. They avoid walks. They prevent them from exploring. They assume the world is simply too dangerous. Other people do the opposite. They underestimate how vulnerable their Chihuahua actually is. They allow dangerous jumps. They leave small objects within reach. They assume a tiny dog can handle situations designed for much larger dogs.
The healthiest approach is somewhere in the middle. Protect your Chihuahua from unnecessary risks, but don't protect them from living. Let them explore safely. Let them learn. Let them walk. Let them experience new places at a pace they can handle. Give them independence without ignoring their physical limitations, because confidence doesn't come from being carried away from every challenge, and safety doesn't come from allowing every risk. Good Chihuahua ownership is about knowing the difference. And perhaps the biggest mistake of all is assuming that because your Chihuahua looks okay, nothing is wrong. Dogs are often good at hiding discomfort. A Chihuahua may still wag their tail while experiencing pain. They may still eat. They may still try to play.
So pay attention to changes. A Chihuahua who suddenly avoids jumping, a dog who becomes unusually quiet, changes in appetite, changes in movement, changes in breathing or behavior. These changes don't always mean something serious is happening, but ignoring them because they'll probably be fine is a risk no owner should take. When something seems genuinely unusual or concerning, getting professional veterinary advice early can make a huge difference.
So let's recap. Avoid encouraging dangerous jumps from high furniture. Don't let tiny treats turn into constant overfeeding. Learn how to properly support your Chihuahua when carrying them. Keep your home safe from small objects, medications, toxic substances, and escape routes. Don't dismiss fear or aggressive behavior simply because it looks funny coming from a tiny dog. And never assume that because your Chihuahua is small, they don't need training, exercise, or mental stimulation.
Chihuahuas may be one of the smallest dog breeds, but owning one comes with a big responsibility. The goal isn't to be scared of everything that could go wrong. It's to recognize the risks before they become emergencies, because many of the most dangerous mistakes aren't caused by neglect. They're caused by owners who simply didn't know something was risky, and now you do.
Your Chihuahua depends on you to make decisions they can't make for themselves. So sometimes the smallest changes in how you feed them, carry them, train them, or protect your home can make a much bigger difference than you realize. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe for more Chihuahua tips, facts, and advice. And if you want even more Chihuahua content, check out our newsletter and become a channel member for exclusive content. Because when you understand your Chihuahua better, you don't just become their owner, you become the person they can truly depend on.